Hey there, I'm Patrick Buck from Germany, and you're listening to the Dynasty Hotseat. Enjoy.
Hello everybody, yes, welcome back to the Dynasty Hot Seat. It is the only Dynasty show out there that is a certified inferno. And today, we got a very, very, very special guest, all the way from Germany. We've got Patrick Buck here. You can find him on Twitter at Paddy McBuck. Patrick, one of my good friends, been in a league with him for a few years now. It's an absolute honour to have you on, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and I'm doing really good and good to see you. And what an honor to be on your podcast. I hope I can bring one or two tips to Dynasty starters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've got lots and lots to share and to let us know about. And that is the first segment of the hot seat. It's called The Art of War, thanks to our good friend Alex, quoting from that book in episode number 2. So we'll just get right into it, Paddy. What are your top hints and tips for Dynasty players out there?
So I'll have a thought about that, and I would say most important thing is to be active in a Dynasty league. Don't be scared to make trades, interact with your league mates, and I think that's very important. We both experienced it in our league. With this guy was not so active, so be active. Follow the chat if there's something going on. So that's my first tip I can give all Dynasty players. Also, maybe speak of my own mistakes. Hide or ignore your personal preferences on teams and players. That's a good tip. Because last year, my love for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cost me at least 3 games. So don't take too many players from one team, no matter what, or no matter how do you love them. So yeah, that's my second tip. And also, especially for the draft, don't be scared to take your favorite guy. And don't think too much about where he should be picked or not. So if you have a guy in mind and you love to pick him, then pick him up.
Yeah, I think those are three really, really good tips. Like, being active, helps with everything. You can't really do any of those other things unless you're active. So yeah, get involved. I think a few weeks ago we had a guy, John Bauer, on here, and that was one of his tips as well. You got to be active, and we talked about how a lot of times in some leagues you might see a trade go through, and then somebody who's not as active will pop up and say, "Oh, hey, I would have give you that. I would have made that trade." It's like, well,
yeah,
you didn't send it through because you weren't active enough. So yeah, there's no off season in Dynasty. So no. I think that is an amazing tip for everybody listening. And then your other 2 tips as well. Don't try and fall down the trap for your own team loyalties. It can cost. Well, I suppose it depends who you support. Some teams can hurt you more than others, I suppose. If you're a Jets fan right now, you might be hurting more than if you're a Bucks fan or Kansas City fan like me. And then yeah, your third tip, just go get your guy. That's absolutely fine. It's a nice sort of balance you got to hit, right? You want to go get your guy, but then you don't want your guy to be Mike Evans and then Chris Godwin and then Leonard Fournette and then Rob Gronkowski. You don't want to get only your guys. Yeah, so you gotta strike a balance there. So I think 3 billion tips that you do really well constantly in the league that we're in, certainly. And we're going to see how many of your guys you're able to go and get now as we put you in the hot seat for a mock draft coming right up. Okay, so here we are. We've got Patrick sitting firmly in the hot seat. How's that seat feeling for you, Patrick? Is it sizzling up a bit?
Warm and comfy.
Warm and comfy. Excellent. He likes the heat. He likes it. Well, let's see if he he still likes it at the end of this, I'm sure he will. So same as always for people who've listened to the podcast before, we got a super flex startup here. We got 12 teams, 18 rounds, and the first question, Patrick, like always, is if you were in an ideal world, what position would you start in this startup draft?
So I have a thought about that, and I will go with pick number 4 here.
Pick number 4, right at the top, hopefully being able to grab one of those elite players at the start of the draft. So here we go. As we load up, we'll just lock in pick number 4, and we'll start the draft. So, as you imagine, you got Mahomes and Allen off the board. Jonathan Taylor, third person off the board. And here you go. You got Herbert and Murray and Burrow and Lamar and lots of others.
And lots of stuff still there, yeah. So I'll go QB with my first pick. Here, another tip maybe. When we drafted our league, it was my first Superflex league, and I drafted McCaffrey with my first overall pick.
101, yeah.
I had one. Yes, I had 101. And I didn't realize how important the QBs are in a Superflex league because it was my first Superflex league. So I'll definitely go with the quarterback here. And as you may know, I have here a favorite player, and this is my tip. Go with your guy. I think most people will go with Herbert here, but I go with Joe Burrow, please.
Joe Burrow. So following your tip number 3, go get your guy. You got Joe Burrow. He's linked up with, the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty and, another top 10 wide receiver in Dynasty. So Joe Burrow, what a great choice here. He's going nowhere in the next couple of years. So Joe Cool into our team. As the snake comes around, you see people like Herbert and Kyler Murray, as you'd expect, coming off the board nice and early in round number 1. And those elite wide receivers like Chase and Hill and Jefferson as well coming off the board. There's Christian McCaffrey coming up, not at the 101 in this one, but the 201. As you see, McCaffrey a lot now slipping into the second rounds in startup drafts, which is something you would have never seen coming 2 years ago. So we're back on the board here. I can filter by position, Paddy, if you want as well. But at the minute, we got people like CeeDee Lamb and Nick Chubb and Cooper Kupp. What a season he had last year, still there. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford, some quarterbacks that are visible there too. Anyone catching your eye?
Just let me see running backs. I will go with a running back here with my second pick.
Yep. So Chubb, Eckler, Kamara, and then a couple of others. Saquon Barkley still there as well. Obviously, fall from grace for him lately.
So, this is the thing. Also, with the players you like or teams you like, you also have to players you don't personally like or not your favorite players in general. So, I go with Derrick Henry here.
Derrick Henry, yes. Look how far down he's got as well. That's crazy considering, before his injury, he was, on track for I don't know how many yards, but a lot of yards. So yeah, Derrick Henry, you'd think will come back fine from his injury and get you lots and lots of points on a really consistent basis. So Derrick Henry's locked in, and the snake comes around to us nice and quickly again as we're on the clock at pick number 4 in round number 3. I'll just put in all positions again for you again, Paddy, so you can see as we get people like Kyle Pitts up at the top, along with some quarterbacks we mentioned before, like Russ and Rodgers and Stafford.
So at this point, when I see just the quarterbacks left here, as you have to keep the long game also in mind. It's not a redraft league, so I like to go with younger players. As when I drafted Joe Burrow, I took him very early in the draft when he was a rookie, but I think I'll go with a quarterback here. And so I have Joe Burrow, a young guy. So I go here with a veteran, but not with Aaron Rodgers. So I will take Matthew Stafford here.
Matthew Stafford, the Super Bowl winning quarterback. Matthew Stafford been absolutely amazing lately. So yeah, you gotta love having Stafford in. And as as quarterbacks go, you wouldn't be shocked if Stafford is still playing, in 5 years' time, even just the way that quarterbacks seem to be able to run late into their 30s. So Stafford, while being older, still gives you that long-term value there as well, which is great to see. As we're popping around again towards the end of the fourth round now, as some people like Justin Fields and George Kittle and Saquon Barkley coming off the board. And we're back here. We got people like Travis Kelce at the top, Deontay Johnson, Tua, Tannehill. Anyone standing out for you?
Okay, so at this point, I go with the top guy here and take Travis Kelce as a tight end. I have to take him here.
Travis Kelce, I'm sure we're all going to have the same discussion this year that people had, 2 years ago. It's like, oh, he's going to fall off a cliff. It's like, well, said that 2 years ago, said that last year. People are saying it this year. And the guy is just a freak. He just doesn't seem to age. And, tight end as well traditionally can, keep going later and later than, some other positions. So I think Travis Kelce is still a lock to be, a very high finish at tight end for the next couple of years. And he's such a difference maker. I remember playing against, our league mate Seb. And every time I played him, Travis Kelce would just beat me on his own. And it'd be so frustrating because I'd be watching the Chiefs game, delighted that the Chiefs are winning, but also devastated that Seb is crushing me.
You have to say goodbye to the good times when you watch football on Sundays if you play fantasy football. So you watching with a laughing eye and also with the eye full of tears.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, you got one side crying, one side smiling. We're back on the board here. We've got a few people at the top, like Cam Akers at the top, and DeAndre Hopkins at the top, and Devonta Smith up there too.
So please let me see the wide receivers here, please.
Yep. So looking at just wide receivers, you've got those people I mentioned, along with Elijah Moore, Calvin Ridley, and then Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. Is he looking pretty good too there? Are you going to fall into your own trap?
Not this time. Mike Evans will be a good pick, but not at this point because we don't know what's happening in Tampa Bay now. So at this point, Mike Evans is a great player, and I think he will go on and have another 1,000-yard season. But it's a little bit of a lottery this year. So I go here with a guy who served me well last years. So I will go with Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, who is of the Atlanta Falcons for now. We don't know where he's going to end up, but someone that talented and someone who I've tried to buy a few so many times. You can't fault Calvin Ridley here, who could be about to have an absolute monster season, depending on where he ends up. As we see Mack Jones coming off quite high. Wow, Mack Jones in the 5th round, coming off along with Elijah Moore and DeAndre Hopkins and those receivers that we just previously spoke about. A little bit of a running back run as well with Aaron Jones and Michael Carter coming off the board too, as we are about to end up in round number 6. Mike Evans not quite coming back to you there, so close. Along with, Ezekiel Elliott at the end of the 6th round. That is crazy to me. He's coming off that late, but let's see who we do have available. We've got Keenan Allen, Josh Jacobs, Michael Pittman Jr. at the top. And again, I can filter by position if you want to see someone in particular.
So I'll go here running back. And so I see Dylan is still on the board. I don't know, it was Alex who said it. I also, as a Jones owner in our league, Dylan will play a massive role next season, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
I don't like to draft running backs from New England.
Yeah.
Always a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, just look how close they are together there. Like, you can see Damian Harris is there, and only a couple of slots below there's Ramondre Stevenson, showing people don't really know what to do with this situation.
So we also have Leonard Fournette here. I don't know where he's ending up. He had two great seasons with Tampa Bay. So I think if he leaves, he will be and find a new team. He will be lead back, but depends where he ends. So
maybe Miami, just complete the whole Florida set. Go to Miami.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I will go with Josh Jacobs here.
Josh Jacobs, right at the very top here. Josh Jacobs, you know, I was listening to another podcast talking about maybe this is the year now. There's a new coaching staff there that Josh Jacobs finally gets used, you know, in the passing game, which is something that he was really good at. You know, coming out of college, that he's definitely got the skills for, and just hasn't been shown really in the NFL. So this could be a massive year for Josh Jacobs if he's used correctly, and you know, not too much competition there for him at the minute. So that could be a sneaky good pick, especially at the end of the 6th round there. As we're into the 7th, I'll stick on all positions once again for you. Yes. So you see, you know, Michael Pittman's still there at the top. Baker Mayfield, a very risky pick there as well, sitting at the top with Jerry Jeudy and Michael Thomas all the way down there as well.
Michael Thomas, also a little bit of a risky pick. I like Cooper, Amari Cooper still there, Jerry Jeudy. So I go. I want to pick here a wide receiver. So let's take. I actually traded him away, and I regret it. And so I'll take here Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk, San Francisco 49ers, yeah. Had a bit of a dip last season, but then kind of came on strong towards the end. And, you know, such a young guy. And, you know, Deebo Samuel did stay healthy last season, but I don't know. I don't think if he's used the same way again this year that he'll stay healthy the whole way through next season. So Brandon Ayuk could be, you know, great value there in the 7th round as we swing around. Amari Cooper coming off the board, who we just talked about. Jared Goff coming off the board. Chase Claypool, as a couple of these 2nd level quarterbacks like Daniel Jones come off the board as well. And here we are at the back end of the 8th round. I'll pop on all, and I'll show you as well. We'll just have a quick review of what kind of positions you've got as well as we come into the 8th round. You got 2 quarterbacks, Burrow and Stafford. Excellent. You got, oh wow, very balanced. Look at this. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. You got Henry and Jacobs and Ridley and Ayuk and Travis Kelce. You got to be pretty happy with that so far.
Yeah, that's good so far. So let's see what's on the board. So let's see.
This is always, it gets a bit tricky here. You've kind of got your guys now, right? You've got and now you've got people like, you know, how do you judge the value of, you know, a starting quarterback like Matt Ryan compared to a riskier player like, you know, Ramondre Stevenson or Tyler Lockett or Mike Williams even though it looks like he might be re-signing in LA, which would be ideal.
Yeah. So I would like to take a quarterback. So let me see the quarterbacks left on the board.
Yeah, so as you got Matt Ryan and Jameis Winston up at the top there. Jimmy G as well there, who's probably going to get traded. Davis Mills, a really interesting quarterback available there, who looked great. And Jordan Love as well, another really, you know, interesting quarterback, but it's a brave decision to take Jordan Love, I think.
Yeah. So I will go here with Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah.
Yeah, he's often underestimated and not very high rated, but I really like him as a player. And for me, it's here the best pick to take.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr is great value there as well. He's a very, really solid player. And, you know, for my money, the best voice as well. Best quarterback voice whenever he's calling the plays. That deep, gravelly voice, you know, what a great thing to hear. So you got to lock in Derek Carr as our 3rd quarterback, which, you know, you got to be really pleased with there. On a bye week, being able to slot in Derek Carr, he's going to give you, you know, good results in there. As we're quickly back on the board at the top of the 9th round. I'll just filter in all positions again there. So you see Tyler Lockett's up there at the top for receivers. Allen Robinson, who won't be in Chicago, you would assume, this time next year. And Ron Milner as well up there. Anyone standing out for you in those players?
Yeah. So that's for me now. I want to take a wide receiver at this point, and so I go with Tyler Lockett here.
Tyler Lockett, very, very boom and bust sometimes, but a supremely talented player. Will get Tyler Lockett put into our team to join an already pretty strong wide receiver core. As Brandon Cooks and Allen Robinson, who we just talked about, fly off the table. Cordarrelle Patterson coming off now. I wonder if he can repeat what he managed to do last season. I don't think so, but it's maybe worth a risk.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, absolutely. As Robert Woods and Jimmy G come off the board as well. Robert Woods in the 10th round. Well, that's pretty good. Hopefully he can return from his injury okay. As I'll filter on all positions again. You got Sam Darnold up at the top there. You got James Conner, an absolute sensation last season there as well. And Juju Smith-Schuster, free agent, and Michael Gallup, free agent as well, sitting at the top.
Ooh. So it's maybe a little bit of a risky pick here, but I think he will come back from his injury. So it's like it's 50-50 to pick Connor or Carson here, but so if I knew it right, Carson had some kind of neck injury.
Yes.
Always not a good thing as a running back. So just let me see the running backs, please.
Yeah, of course. So you've got, Connor and Carson there. You got Ronald Jones, who isn't. I don't think Jones is coming back to Tampa, is he?
I don't think so.
No. And then you got Madison, Rashad Penny, an interesting choice there as well. Obviously, you don't know if he's going to take that role off. Chris Carson is a bit up in the air at the minute.
So, okay, so Carson, Rojo is not safe. Penny was back, but I think I will go with Zach Moss here because I think he has a lot of potential left and not shown everything so far. So I'll go with Zach Moss here.
Zach Moss coming in for us at Buffalo. I've always thought Zach Moss looks better than Devin Singletary, and Singletary had a bit of a run at the end of the season. He looked good. So I'm wondering if Moss gets that same shot, is he going to look just as good? So he's still young as well. So we'll get Zach Moss in there. You're following your advice there. You're going out, you're getting your guy, and just not waiting for the chips to fall and him not to be there. All right, here we are, round 11. Pick number 4. You got Julio Jones up at the top, Adam Thielen as well there. And we got some tight ends at the top there as well, Cole Kmet and Dawson Knox too. Is anyone standing out for you? Hunter Renfrow there too,
right? So this is pick number...
This is pick number 11.
11. So I'll go with a tight end here.
Yep.
And I see Irv Smith Jr. is still there.
Dalton Schultz, who was tight end number 3 or 4 last season. He was up definitely top 5.
Yeah. So also Knox, Kmet. I think I'll take Dalton Schultz here.
Dalton Schultz, yeah, coming off an excellent year in that super high-powered Dallas Cowboys offense as well. I think he looked great. I think he can repeat what he did last season. He looks, more than serviceable. I think he'll get you lots and lots of points, on a consistent basis. And, he's not even your first choice tight end as well. You got Travis Kelce for that as well. So Dalton Schultz is great to have as a backup, as we see some riskier players coming off the board now, like Madison and Ronald Jones and Teddy Bridgewater and Jordan Love, as we get into, round number 12, where things start to get interesting and some riskier picks start to appear, and that's kind of highlighted at the top with Kenny Golladay and Will Fuller sitting up there, which is, as risky as it gets.
Oh, Miles Gaskin's still there.
Yeah. Gaskin's an interesting one. If Miami don't draft a running back or bringing another running back in, then Myles Gaskin is going to be worth a lot due to their new coaching regime coming in from the 49ers.
So I think I will risk it here. I would take Gaskin here.
Yeah, I think I would do the exact same here because he is that pass catching back, and that's exactly what Miami are going to use next season, that pass catching back. So we'll lock in Myles Gaskin, and hopefully he's able to carve out a workload for him at Miami, and that's going to look amazing in the 12th round. As Devin Singletary, we just talked about coming off the board, and Kenny Gainwell too. As we sweep into round number 13, we got Gabriel Davis up at the top, who obviously had a lot of hype after the Kansas City game, and Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, and Irv Smith Jr., who we talked about earlier, still there. Jalen Reagor as well, a bit of a fallen star too.
Just let me see the wide receivers, please.
Yes, wide receivers. So some other people coming up there: Brian Edwards, Van Jefferson, Sterling Shepard as well towards the bottom.
So I'll think that Trevor Lawrence will have a better season, a better year. So I'd like to go with Jacksonville receiver here, and I will go with DJ Chark.
DJ Chark, yeah, you think you'd right if he does end up back in Jackson. I don't know if they've re-signed him or not, but yeah, Trevor Lawrence plus DJ Chark. We never even got to see it last year because he got injured so quickly. It would be great to see that link up there as we get DJ Chark locked in as a brave person takes Drew Lock right after us as well. And we swooped down Marvin Jones also of Jacksonville, just coming off the board there as well. And Irv Smith not coming back to us, unfortunately, as we sweep into the end of round number 14 with a bit of a running back run. And here we are, pick number 9 in round 14. Here are all the positions for you. You got Brian Edwards up at the top. You got Van Jefferson. Tom Brady sitting there staring at you. Do you think he's done? Do you think he's coming back?
I think he's done. Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
I was hoping he will play another year, but he don't have to prove anything anymore. And also ending the season not with another Super Bowl run, but with such amazing numbers.
Yeah.
It's a good way to end this amazing career. So I would like to take a wide receiver here, and let me see the wide receiver we have. Van Jefferson still there, Josh Palmer, Callaway, Cole Collins, Campbell, Crowd, H. Green, Cole Beasley. Just let me see the running backs, please.
Yeah. So there's just running backs. You got Gus Edwards up there, Sonny Michel, Raheem Mostert as well, sitting up there too. Yeah, it's a bit slim, but Keyshawn Vaughn's down at the very bottom there, who's, I think, Tampa Bay's only under contract running back at this current point anyway. This is where it gets tricky, right? This is always
This is where it gets tricky, yeah. And so if you had played, it's not your first time. You can maybe rely on players you owned in other leagues, but who served you well. So I will go with J.D. McKissic here.
J.D. McKissic from the newly minted Washington Commanders as well coming in. He's going to catch a lot of footballs next year, so that's always good for a running back. So let's get in J.D. McKissic. Hopefully he continues that trend of just coming in and catching a lot of footballs and getting, just chipping away at that points total. As we're again quickly back on the clock in round number 15. I'll filter on all positions. You got a group of 3 tight ends at the top: Logan Thomas, Evan Engram, Adam Troutman's at the top. We've got Lockett, there's Johnny Smith and Robert Tonyan up there as well. Anybody apart from those tight ends standing out for you?
Okay. It's the tricky rounds, as you said. Just let me see the wide receivers.
Yep, just wide receivers. Marquez Callaway up there. Mecole Hardman as well from Kansas City. Nico Collins, young receiver from Houston, who's looked pretty good, and then some solid, veterans there as well, like AJ Green and Cole Beasley.
Yeah, let's take Callaway here.
Marquez Callaway, he seems to be, well, depending on what happens with Michael Thomas, the main target there at New Orleans. So let's get in Callaway, and hopefully he can build on some pretty solid work that he's been doing the last 2 seasons. As those tight ends we talked about, wow, 4 in a row coming off the board: Ingram and Thomas and Smith and Troutman, and even Zach Ertz as well coming off the board too. As we swing into our third last pick at the end of round number 16, Mitchell Trubisky coming off the board there. He's an interesting prospect coming up this season. So we got 3 picks left. So I'll just show you. You've got, let me just make this full screen. You got your 3 quarterbacks. You got Burrow and Stafford and Derek Carr. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs: Henry, Jacobs, Moss, Gaskin, and McKissick. And then you got a really nice core of wide receivers: Ridley, Ayuk, Lockett, Chark, and Callaway, and then 2 tight ends with Kelsey and Schultz.
So let's get us a kicker now.
Kicker. we no kickers in this, so we'll be all right. You can take one after the show ends. I'll slot in Justin Tucker for you.
Just kidding. Good. Maybe it was just as you remember our first draft. When was Tucker drafted in round number 2 or 3?
Oh yeah, it was he drafted the Ravens defense in like round 8, and then in round 9 I think he took Justin Tucker. Yeah.
So okay. So
Kyle Trask is there. I've just seen, obviously, from I don't know much about Kyle Trask.
Yeah. So
oh yeah,
maybe he's the guy in not this season, but next season maybe. Could be. Tyler Hickby is still on the board. Yeah. Let's take Tyler Hickby here.
Yeah, Tyler, it'll be quite surprising to see him so far down. Yeah. He's like pretty good, and what I really noticed about Tyler Hickby was whenever they won the Super Bowl, he was like at the center of it all, and everyone was like congratulating him, and like really there was a lot of love for Tyler Hickby at the Super Bowl. I know he was injured, but just shows you how important he is to that team. So I think a real solid pick here, as he's going to be a center point of that offense going forward, and it's nice you can pair him with Matthew Stafford in your team as well if you ever need to. And here we go. Oh, Cal Trask just coming off the board. They're not coming back around to us. Yeah. As here's our penultimate pick, Paddy. We got Dearness Johnson at the top, Jamal Williams, David Johnson, some other running backs there. And then you've got at the very bottom, there he is, Antonio Brown.
Okay, so I'll take Russell Gage here.
Yeah, I thought he looked, out of all the players that are available, I thought he stood out to me as well. So Russell Gage will get him locked in nice and easy. As we sweep in to our final pick, we got Jamal Williams leaving us, we got Jared Patterson leaving us, Gerald Everett, Antonio Brown going at the end of the 17th round. As here we go into round number 18, and John Brown coming off the board, Tyler Johnson, Keyshawn Vaughn, a bit of a Tampa Bay run. And here we go. It's our final pick. You got at the top Brevin Jordan, Tim Patrick, Quintez Cephas, Marcus Mariota, and a couple of other names there. Is anyone standing out to you?
Okay. Yeah, so that's Ryan Sean, Colin Hill, Tony Coleman. So just ended up with Quintus Cephas.
Quintus Cephas, yeah, he looked pretty good before he got injured last season. So let's get Cephas locked in, and hopefully he comes back looking just as good as he did before. As Brevin Jordan and Tim Patrick round up the draft, and I'll just quickly scroll down. Who was the last person? Donovan Peoples-Jones, the very last person picked. So Patrick, here we are at the end of our draft, and you've built quite a good-looking team indeed. You got Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, and Derek Carr as your three quarterbacks, which is excellent. I think you got to be pretty happy with that as a start.
Yeah, that's good.
You've got Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Zach Moss, Myles Gaskin, and J.D. McKissick as your running back room. You've got, I think, a really strong core of wide receivers here. You got Ridley and Ayuk, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, Marquez Callaway, Russell Gage, and Quintez Cephas, which is very strong. And then you got your three tight ends. You got Travis Kelce, Dalton Schultz, and Tyler Higbee, which, that's as good as it gets really in terms of tight ends. So how are you feeling after your draft?
Yeah, I feel really good. So I also have a really strong wide receiver corp here and a lot of wide receivers. So also, if you have this amount of wide receivers, you also have a bit of trade potential.
Definitely.
Trade to offer and to get another player. So I think to start here with this team, this is a team that can compete for a championship run, maybe, yeah. And also you have some young players to build up in the future. So I'm pretty happy with the draft. Could have gone worse.
Yeah, there's always can go worse. You could have taken the Ravens defense in the 8th round and then Justin Tucker in the 9th. But yeah, you got to be really pleased with that. I think you've built a really strong team, and yeah, you're right. You got that nice balance, you got some veteran players, you got some younger players. Like you could just see with your three quarterbacks, that's kind of speaks for itself in there with that nice balance of those three. So Paddy, just as we wrap up here, I want to say, thank you so much once again. And, people can find you just new onto Twitter. You can find you at Paddy McBuck. That was in the video at the start if you're watching the video edition. And just reminding everyone listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in again. And even though Paddy's in the hot seat and the embers are cooling down and it's starting to mellow a little bit, just remember to keep yourself and your Dynasty teams lit. See you next week.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.